Hi, welcome again to week 7 of class. I hope you all are doing very great. And this week we'll be looking at the differences in the school of thought in economics. Last week we looked at the classical economics, being led by Adam Smith and some other classical economists. But this week we'll be looking into the Keynes School of Economics and what they have to say, what both sides have to um, deliver for us, and to basically just look into their understanding or their thoughts on uh, how the market and the government should interfere in the economy. Let's go right into it. So we have the two schools of economic thought. We have the classical and the Keynesian school of economic thought. And again, we'll be just, talking briefly on how, on what this school of thoughts have to tell us. The classical basically is more of what we could say the standard microeconomic theory, where we look at the demand and supply and the forces of market and how this could help with establishing general equilibrium in the economy. But the Keynesian economics has a separate, different um, thoughts with that. And this school of thought is being led by John Keynes, and where it says that the government should interfere in the economy. The government should help with the economy by spending money, taxation, looking at monetary policies, fiscal policies, and we're going to look at monetary policies and fiscal policies next week and the week after. So, but basically, the Keynesian School of Economics is saying that the government should interfere in the economy, and they look at this from the demand side of it. So they are of the opinion that, but John Keynes is of the opinion that the government should interfere in helping to boost the aggregate demand when there is recession. In his book, The General Theory in 1936, he said that the classical economics is not general enough. So in the classical economics, they made the assumption that their theory is general, but Keynes said that it's not. In his book, in the general economy and general theory, he says that there are some times when there is disequilibrium in the economy, when the economy is not stable, when the economy is not where it should be, and that the government should help in putting back the economy where it should be. So it's been developed by John Keynes, and he lived there in 1883 to 1946. And of course, he's probably the best known economist in this field, in this field of economics. He's a graduate of Cambridge, studied classics and math, and his theories were not just only based on general theory of employment, interest, and money. It's also based on some other work. Keynes argued that in an economic slum, it was not a long run phenomenon, and that we should not all get depressed about and leave the market to sort out itself. So it's just basically saying that, okay, fine, there's sometimes we have economic slump, and this is not a long run. It's a short run. So the government should interfere. So the government should help to boost the economy, boost the aggregate demand. And when there's a flip again, like when there is boost, and the government could help in offsetting the deficit he has acquired, because he has acquired when it intervened in the economy when there was a slump. So basically, it's just saying, okay, the Keynesian theory is just basically saying government should interfere, but while the classical says no, the market should be allowed to sort out itself, that the market is efficient, that the market is in full employment. We're going to look at the differences between the classical and the Keynesian theories and see what they have to say. The Keynesian theory also talks about the counter-cyclical demand management, because they believe that the government should be doing the exact opposite of the trade cycle. So when we talk about the trade cycle or business cycle, is when we're talking about the slump or the boost, the recession or the boom in the economy, where there's like a spiral movement of trade. So Keynesian theory is definitely saying that the government should be doing the exact opposite of the trade cycle. What are the tenets? Economics are inherently unstable and do not always operate at full employment. That said, also that the economics are not self-correcting. The classical says the economics are self-correcting. Like when there is, the classical would say when there is shortage or when there's surplus, then the price adjusts itself to whereby the equilibrium will come in, whereby there will be a new equilibrium. But the Keynesian theory says no, the economy doesn't self-correct itself. If nothing is done, then things get to go worse and worse and worse, so that the government should interfere. Demand and supply are unpredictable and unstable. Also, the business spending cannot always be relied upon to boost the demand in the economy. Also, we have them saying that increases in demand through higher government spending can help bring about full employment without inflation. So it's just more of like saying the government should interfere, the households or the business, the private sector cannot be the only determining factor for economic stability. That the government should interfere with monetary policy, with fiscal policy. And like I said, we are going to look into the monetary policy and fiscal policy next week and the week after. So basically, this is where you have the slide. You have about 33 slides for you to go into and understand better what this is really saying. But I'm just trying to make this video a little bit more comprehensive as it could be, but short, so that we could understand the graphs of it. So this will be my last slide that I'll be showing. Definitely you can scroll down and read through all the notes. So looking at the classical and the Keynes schools of thought, we are going to look at the differences. So the first one we have there is equilibrium and disequilibrium. So what is the classical saying? The classical saying that the economy is at equilibrium, that there's demand and supply, and the forces of demand and supply will always bring the economy will always the forces of demand and supply will always bring the economy to an equilibrium. Fine, it could be a new equilibrium, but the classical theory believes that it will definitely come into equilibrium, that the government doesn't need to interfere, that the market will always sort out itself. At equilibrium, a new equilibrium, or but that the economy will always find itself at the equilibrium. But the Keynes school of thought says that no, that there are always some times where there is no equilibrium. For example, when there is war, when there is pandemic, that when there's a recession, that the government needs to interfere at that particular point in time. in the earlier slide, there's where it says it's not always short run. No, that's all right. Okay, but it's not always short run. Like it's not always a long run. That is usually a short run, right? So that in the short run, when there is disequilibrium, that the government should interfere. Okay. The next one we have there is price adjustment. So the classical believes that the price that there's need, when there's price adjustment, then the economy will come into stability, will come into equilibrium, then the economy will adjust itself. So when you move the prices up and down, then when the prices are high, the demand is low. When the prices is low, the demand is high, and also that for the forces of supply. So the classical believes that price adjustment is just fine. That when you adjust the price up or down or remains the same, the economy adjusts itself. But the Keynes school of thought says no, that you need to adjust the quantity, you need to help with aggregate demand. You need to boost aggregate demand. You need to help and adjust the quantity, that the prices adjustment doesn't do it. Full employment and unemployment. So full employment, the classical are saying that, classical school of thought says that the resources are employed fully. We did the PPC curve, the production possibility curve, or you say the production possibility frontier. The classical believes that the resources have been employed at that curve, at the maximum curve. So there is no need for government to interfere. That when the government is interfering, it's just a waste of the resources, the waste of money, is the waste of the effort, that all the resources are being employed at their full capacity. But the other school of thought says no. The Keynes school of thought says no. That sometimes we have labor or capital being not fully employed. That sometimes they operate under the production possibility frontier, and that is not an efficient place to be. So these are like opposite school of thought, right? So we also have the supply oriented, which is more of the classical. The classical theorists will say that the economy could be adjusted, or the economy is going to be fine with the supply oriented, as long as you're supplying what the people want, then it will adjust itself. But the other school of thought, the Keynes school of thought, is like, no, like demand is when you boost demand, then the supply will come over. Like it's not that way. It's the way of demand. You boost demand, then supply will come over. The supply will come up to it. But the classical was like, no, when the supply is there, then the demand is there. The demand will come to me. Like there'll be an equilibrium, but it's supply oriented. That's what the classical was saying. The Keynes also said that the economy is not efficient, so that the economy is not Pareto efficient. So when you talk about efficiency, we're talking about the Pareto efficiency. The classical says that the economy is efficient, like there's Pareto efficiency. When we talk about Pareto efficiency, we're talking about when you at the point where the economy is at the point where everyone is efficient. If you try to better off someone, then someone else is being worse off. So that the economy is just where it should be. If you're trying to help someone out, if you're trying to allocate more resources to a particular area or to a particular jurisdiction, then there's other jurisdiction that will be suffering from that. Now the economy or the resources are well allocated, but the Keynes school of thought is like, no, economy is not always that way, that the government needs to interfere. We have the counter-cyclical policy, which is more of the tenet of the Keynesian school of thought. Says, the government should interfere with government with boosting aggregate demand using monetary policy, using fiscal policy. But of course, classical is like, no, there's no need for that. The economy, the market is going to fix itself, even if there is a boom or if there is a recession. The economy always like find a new equilibrium and always fix itself. The last point right there is the money is neutral, right? I mean, they say money is neutral. Money doesn't really have actual effect on people, on lifestyle of people. Like if you increase the supply of money, and that's what the monetary policy could do. If you increase the supply of money, that what you're trying to do is to increase the price level of product, of goods and services, so that money doesn't really have any real effect on people's life. If you try to put more money into people's hands or into people's individuals or citizens' bank accounts, you're only trying to increase the price level, so that an increase in that will also lead to an increase in price level, or a decrease in that will also lead to a decrease in price level. That money is just neutral. Money is just, it's just there. It's just money. It doesn't really have real effects on people. But Keynes says, no, money has effect. Like when you reduce taxation for people, when you increase government spending, when you have some policies to help boost the economy, then it has real effect on the lives of on the lives of people. So I mean, these are very interesting, schools of thought. And in my profession, it's been, we have these two sides, and sometimes you look at both sides, look at, there are pros and cons of of this, and looking at where should I stay, which side should I go with. These are just thoughts, and I won't say argument, but of course there are thoughts on how the economy should be. Basically, the Keynesian is more of the microeconomic theory, and I'm sorry, the classical is more of the microeconomic theory. We're talking about the market, talking about the equilibrium, talking about demand and supply. Where the Keynes is talking about the macro, really, like the government should interfere in the economy when there is this equilibrium, when there's inflation, and when things are not really going the way it should be, that the government should interfere. So we have also there's a presentation, PowerPoint slides in the course schedule. You in the coursework, in the content for this week, go into it. There is a slide that talks about different arguments or different discussion, where we look at the pros and cons of the school of thoughts. Look at that, study that, and we also have discussion where I'll be asking about what your thoughts are on this. Should the government really interfere in the economy or not? Should the government bail out the economy when the economy is in trouble, when there's a recession, or should we just let the private sector do their thing? So yeah, get on the discussion board and put in your discussion. I'm really hoping to read your discussion, to read your thoughts on what on how the economy should be, Do you go with the classical? Do you go with the Keynesians? School of thought, and of course, you want to give some reasons why you believe one is better than the other. And of course, this is not an argument; it's just yeah, just thoughts. And these have been what economics has really been based on over the years. And oh yeah, sure. So send me an email if you have any questions or if you have any thoughts, you have any concerns, and send me an email, reach out to me, and hope to see you next week.